Can they hear me? They hear me live out there. Next beat. That ain't the beat I wanted to.
Those was wood
another
beats
beat.
right
Another
there.
beat.
You know?
Nope. Give me another beat. Give me another beat. Nope. That's not it. That's the beat. Turn it up.
Oh, word.
Turn it up. I gotta hear it a little louder. Can you make it louder than my headphones? Turn me up in my headphones. I'm still stuck in the 80s/90s. Lottos, kangaroo boots, nanny ghosts, Velas, jumpsuits and troops, Junos, color Levi's, Bugs Bunny sweaters with the rhinestone ring on it. Fighting and making up the next day. Nobody getting shot. Working a hustle and a get it, a get got. We had love for the streets, our family, our foes, our friends. Respect for the elderly. Pager/payphone, sneaking in the Adams Theater. Watching Crush grooving tougher than leather. Hopping gates out the college port to bang out, cause you don't wanna get caught at mom's crib or at Von's crib. Eating funny dinner with the fam. Church every Sunday, 8 o'clock a.m. And even if I fell asleep in the back row or played sick, no matter what, man, I still had to go. 80s, baby. He's a DJ, I'm the rapper. He's a DJ, I'm the rapper. 80s, baby. He's a DJ,
Happy New Year, Interneters! The Xcast is back, kids. We're back with episode number 68. It's day 4,945 in the search for Tim Chevelday. It is so great to be back after a couple of weeks off for the holidays. I'm your host, Josh Houselander. With me, as always, the producer here at the Xcast, the 2017 Podcaster of the Year.
That's not true, but...
I just gave you the award right now. What do you mean it's not true?
Oh, thank you.
Adam Hernandez.
I didn't have a speech prepared or anything.
Yeah, I know. It's just I just decided to give it to you right now.
No.
You were the only nominees were you and me.
Oh.
And I decided to give it to you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, buddy. You're welcome. You're welcome. Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year to you as well. Did you have a good holiday?
We did. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's always fun. Yeah, you gotta love the holidays. They're fun. They're hectic though. It's kind of.
And at this point right now, you're always glad for him to be over.
Well,
right?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing living up here in Detroit, the only thing that sucks about the holidays coming to a close is that it's like, oh, the holidays are over, but we still have like
Sub-zero
5 more
temperatures.
months of shit weather,
Yeah.
of just the worst weather on the planet. But
Not 5 more months, because in 5 more months it's going to be May.
yeah, isn't that when it finally starts to get nice around here? Is in May?
I mean, like I don't have anything against April.
Yeah, I guess April's all right.
And
I exaggerate.
The worst month of the year is February.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Always.
It's February, because February you're like smack dab in the middle of it.
Right.
I mean, the holidays have long since been over.
Mm-hmm. Luckily, it is the shortest month of the year.
Yes.
Not that that means anything.
No.
It really doesn't.
Because usually the beginning of March usually makes up for that lost time in February.
Exactly, and the end of January and everything else.
Yeah, so.
But it really doesn't matter. But no, it's, holidays are stressful, but it is kind of nice to just, it's a rough time. I get a whole bucket full of kids, as you know, so, holidays they're fun, but they're pretty
You have like one of
hectic,
those
too.
gallon bucket full of kids.
I do. But it's good to, have all the kids there sitting around the tree, and it's fun. Yeah, it's cute. It's cute. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's great. Yep. Anyway, glad it's over. It's 2018 now. 2018. That's the year of.
Glad sitting around the tree with your kids is over.
No, I was just trying to find the good parts. Now, then you hope your pocketbook can repair itself.
Yeah.
From those wonderful moments of sitting around the tree. And is your Christmas tree still up, man?
No. We got back from Florida the New Year's Eve.
Okay.
And our plane left at
known as December 30th for us lay people.
Yes. Plane left at 8. We got home around noon.
Uh-huh.
Our tree was down probably by like 1:30.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
We didn't waste any time.
Mine's still up.
You celebrate Orthodox Christmas.
I do celebrate Orthodox Christmas. I don't really celebrate Orthodox
That's
Christmas.
just your excuse to keep the tree up.
Yeah, I'm Catholic, but I keep the tree up through Orthodox Christmas. In case any of my Orthodox Christian friends come over.
Do you have Orthodox Christian friends?
No, none. None whatsoever. But I might get one. I might make one.
You never know.
I might make one between now and then. And if they come over, I want to be able to say Merry Christmas and have my tree up. Plus, it's not dead yet, so.
Oh, do you have a real one?
Yeah, I always get a real tree. Yeah. I'm a real tree purist actually. So I do the real tree thing, and as long as it's still sucking water down, I'll keep it up for a little while. It looks good.
When is Orthodox? I'm looking up when Orthodox Christmas is over.
I'm not sure.
Or not when it's over, when it is. Sunday, January 7th.
Okay, so I got a couple of days. So I'll probably take it down around, probably the 8th, actually. I'll probably be sick of it by then.
So, yeah, there you go. I mean...
Yeah, maybe even before that. I didn't realize it was that far back. 7th, yeah. We'll see, though. We'll see. I like having it up. I actually do like having it up. I actually do like having the Christmas tree up after Christmas, because I feel like then you actually maybe get to kind of enjoy it. Kids' presents are under the tree. It's kind of cool.
Do you know why Orthodox celebrate on January 7th?
Why is it? Something with the moon and with the old calendar, right?
Close. I mean, yeah, the Julian calendar that predates the Gregorian calendar.
Okay.
Which Christmas Day, I mean, in that sense, falls on.
Yeah, and Easter's always further back as well, right?
Yeah. It says here that some Orthodox actually might celebrate on Christmas Day. Like
I think most of them do, actually. I think they celebrate the Orthodox... I mean, I shouldn't speak for them, but I think they celebrate the Orthodox Christmas religiously. But, you know what? I actually do know a couple of Orthodox Christians, now that I think about it. And if they're listening, I'm sorry that I didn't include you when I said I didn't have any Orthodox Christian friends, because I do. Actually, a pretty good friend of mine is. But I believe that they celebrate it kind of, religiously, like I said. But I mean, Christmas is December 25th for everybody at this point. Whether you're Jewish or atheist or Muslim or Christian or whatever, I mean, Christmas, it's December 25th. It is a national holiday too, so you're gonna get it off work and all that crap.
It looks like in Russia they do celebrate it on the 7th, though.
Oh, I'm sure I bet they do in Russia. Yeah, I mean that's their thing there, right?
Yeah, Soviet Russia.
Yeah. Russia isn't Soviet. They ceased being Soviet when they stopped being the Soviet Union.
Putin's not falling in line with that Gregorian calendar bullshit.
Yeah, Putin doesn't care about that stuff. He's like communist.
He's like, wait,
I'm not being tied down by communism. I'm a whole different kind of totalitarian.
Wait, what day do they celebrate in the United States? The 25th? Okay, we're going with the 7th.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'll tell you what, people. Listen, I'm Putin, and Christmas is any day except December 25th. All right, just you don't like January 7th, just pick something else, but it's not December 25th. God, America sucks. But hey, one thing that we do have to look forward to, crap weather, all this stuff around this time of year, is football. We don't talk about sports as much as we used to, Adam, but, you still host the Majors Live. Football, we had some shockers last night with the playoff, the college football playoff. So we got Alabama, Georgia, right, playing for the national championship. Mm-hmm. What do you think? What do you like in that game?
It's hard to go against Alabama in this case right now. I think Alabama, what they're able to do last night against Clemson, totally dominating them. Yeah, it's just that's what Alabama does. That's what Nick Saban does. They go in there, they stack up, and it's so tough. I mean, you could say this on both ends of the field too, with whether you're talking Clemson or whether you're talking Alabama. It's just the amount of talent that they have, the amount of pure talent they have in just about every aspect of that team. I mean, you can't double team, you can't triple team. It's hard going man to man, and that's what Georgia's going to find a tough time doing is coming up with a scheme. Luckily, they have. Well, actually, no, they have this Monday. This coming Monday is the game, so they're not going to have that extra time to kind of prepare. But they're both in the same conference. They're used to each other. I can't remember. I think
this will determine the true SEC champion.
Yes, but again, I mean that's. I don't think there was anything really surprising on how the playoffs turned out. I think
I was surprised how much Alabama lit up Clemson.
Yeah, it was.
But the thing I was saying going into that game is just you give Nick Saban that much time to prep.
Well, exactly.
Shit, he could beat the Patriots.
Well, I don't know.
I exaggerate.
Yeah,
I say that as a joke and exaggeration. I'm not one of those people that thinks college teams can beat pro teams.
No,
I'm just saying,
I don't even think.
I'm just talking up Nick Saban.
And people, Alabama cannot beat Cleveland.
No, they can't.
They can't. I don't care what you say. They cannot beat the Cleveland Browns. It's not going to happen. In fact, I think the Cleveland Browns would probably run the floor with Alabama in that case because
they would. And for those of you out there, if you are saying that, if you are one of those people that is saying, you're telling me that Alabama couldn't beat the Cleveland Browns, yes, I'm telling you that, and you truly do not understand the system and what college football and pro football is all about if you think that Alabama could hang with the Browns in a game. Just no.
I always find that incredibly funny that somebody would actually come up with that type of.
They've been saying that for 75 years in football.
I think a couple of the most surprising aspects though about what happened yesterday, and they all reside with Oklahoma. I thought Oklahoma was going to beat Georgia simply because Oklahoma has the best player in the college football right now, or the college football playoff right now, in Baker Mayfield, where they had him. And there are two things that were surprising about what happened yesterday in the Rose Bowl game. The first being Oklahoma losing their 14-point lead. I mean, the team was essentially unbeatable when they scored 30 or more points in the first half, which is exactly what they did. They scored 31 points in the first half and took a 2-touchdown lead into the break, only to have Georgia claw their way back and win it in double overtime. I thought the other surprising aspect was Oklahoma's play calling in the overtime periods. And what they essentially did is they essentially took the ball out of Baker Mayfield's hands. I mean, that play calling was atrocious. And I thought if they look, if you put your best player in the situations, in the most important situations in the game, then you're probably going to end up coming out on top. And that's not what Oklahoma did. They in every aspect, they took the ball out of Baker Mayfield's hands. And I thought that was a huge, huge mistake on their part. And
you'd have thought for a minute that Jim Harbaugh was coaching that team.
Don't get me started on that.
Don't get me started on that.
Are you falling off the bandwagon here with him?
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
I
mean, I'm still, listen, I'm a Michigan slappy. We don't talk about sports as much as we used to, but for those of you that are newer to the show, I'm a Michigan slappy. I'm a Michigan season ticket holder now, by the way, Adam.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Sorry about that.
I'm not. It's cool. And, my son is more than ecstatic about it. So that's cool. But, yeah, I mean, Jim Harbaugh, I blame that loss on him yesterday completely. I really do. It was atrocious.
Well, you talk about bad play calling. I mean,
yeah,
that was.
People wanted to criticize his quarterbacks throwing interceptions and things like that. But the problem is that you knew that Michigan's quarterback sucked, right? I knew that. Why didn't Jim Harbaugh know that? Why are you calling plays that are going to put your... What is in essence, he's basically playing his third and fourth string quarterbacks, or is who he's, deciding between. So why are you calling those plays?
The thing is, though, do the quarterbacks suck because they don't have any talent, or do they suck because Jim Harbaugh hasn't done his job as a coach and helped bring them
the latter?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And look, these, and I know we're kind of getting off track here from the college football.
Yeah, from the
playoff.
games that actually matter.
Yeah, but the thing is that when Wilton Speight was healthy this season,
mm-hmm.
Wilton Speight wasn't a no-name guy who was coming in as a 1 or 2 star recruit.
Not at all.
Wilton Speight had had a good high school career. I believe he came in as a 3 or 4. I think he was 3 in some circles and a 4 in others. But John O'Korn had success at the college level, coming over from Houston. Brandon Peters was supposed to be, the savior of the program.
Sure.
And Jim Harbaugh has struck out on each one of those guys.
Yeah. And that's supposed to be his thing,
and
right?
Exactly. Jim Harbaugh is supposed to be a quarterback's guy. I mean,
he was a professional quarterback.
He was a professional quarterback. I mean, he was the guy that many give credit to, in part to what Andrew Luck was able to do throughout his collegiate career. I mean, Jim Harbaugh was tabbed as the guy that is supposed to come in to that Michigan program and look, not take a whole lot of time to sit here and get it turned around. Jim Harbaugh was supposed to come into the Michigan program and it was supposed to be rectified within 1 year.
Right.
And anybody who says otherwise, that, that's not fair, well, Jim Harbaugh is getting a shit ton of money. Jim Harbaugh is...
He was supposed to be our Urban Meyer.
Yes, he is, I believe, the third highest paid head coach in the country. Mm-hmm. He's the highest paid head coach in the Big Ten. Yeah. He makes more than Urban Meyer, which you can't even compare the two right now.
No,
you can't compare Urban Meyer to Jim Harbaugh.
Name me the coach in the Big Ten that couldn't have won that game in the second half yesterday.
Jim Harbaugh isn't even... He's not even the best coach in the state.
No.
Mark Antonio is a better coach, college football
he is
coach
right
for
now.
that matter.
He is right now.
Than Jim Harbaugh is.
Absolutely.
And look, and anybody who's saying that it's not fair to make that comparison because Michigan is a young team. Michigan was, and this is always my favorite. Michigan didn't have anything in the cupboard. What the fuck are you talking about? Not to go to the old Brady Hoke, this is Michigan thing, but it's true. Right. This is Michigan. In a lot of aspect, Michigan tends to recruit itself.
Sure.
Michigan is in many ways lives on brand name.
Yeah.
And the cupboard is never totally bare. How many pros did Jim Harbaugh send to the NFL? Or how many kids did Jim Harbaugh send to the NFL last year? Quite a few, if I can remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And to say that the cupboard is bare, to say that you're a young team, again, I present to you Urban Meyer. And this is who you get to be compared to. It's not unfair to compare Jim Harbaugh to Urban Meyer because he's getting paid more than Urban Meyer is, and that's exactly the guy who you're supposed to be going up against and beating. Yet you haven't beat Urban Meyer.
And he's 0-3 against.
You're 0-3 against Urban Meyer. You're 1-2 against Michigan State.
You're 1-5 against your big rival.
Yes.
And by the way, that stat sounds bad. But that stat is much worse than it sounds because that Michigan State team that he beat last year was one of the worst teams in Big Ten history.
Oh,
they were atrocious.
Yeah, they were a horrible team.
They were atrocious.
And you know what? Michigan State's team this year wasn't really that good either.
No, they were not.
Yeah, they overachieved incredibly.
Even Brady Hoke beat Ohio State once.
Yeah.
Even Rich Rod beat Michigan State. I mean, this is not.
Yeah, I mean, and at some point, and you know what, Josh, I'm glad that you're able to come on tonight and actually offer up some criticism to Jesus Harbaugh, because a lot of Michigan fans out there still want to give this guy every excuse in the book. And you know what? You say you have season tickets next year. You know what? Next year might actually be a good season to go and witness this, because it is going to be an extremely tumultuous season next year for Jim Harbaugh, because what he is going to have to do next year because of what he hasn't done thus far is going to be something to watch. And it's not going to be any easy task, because all of a sudden now You don't start off the season against an overrated Florida team. You don't start off the season against Western Michigan or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Notre Dame to start off the 2018 season. Not to mention, you're also going on the road against a Michigan State team that is going to be better than what they were this year, and you have to go to Columbus and play Ohio State.
Right.
That's going to be, and you know what? You're not winning your division unless you beat Michigan State and Ohio State,
Right.
and probably Penn State.
Right.
So,
yeah, no, it's gonna be rough. Listen, I'm a Michigan fan. I'm a Jim Harbaugh fan. I am, but yeah, Jim Harbaugh needs to reevaluate everything in this offseason. That is for sure.
and anybody out there thinking that it's going to be fixed with an Ole Miss quarterback transfer, well, look at the rest of that offense.
Right.
It's going to take more than just a really good quarterback, because that's not how it gets done in college football. You don't live and die by a good quarterback alone. Yes, a bad quarterback can kill your team.
Oh, of course.
A decent quarterback with a good supporting cast around him can do wonders. Again, look at what Nick Saban's been able to do in Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, what Alabama quarterback has actually gone to the NFL and done anything? Not to mention what Nick Saban quarterback has been able to go to the NFL and do anything.
Yeah, that's called playing in a great system.
Yes.
Playing for great teams.
Yes.
It is a team sport.
Yes. Now you may be able to get away with that in the NFL, have a really good quarterback and kind of a mediocre to shit, well, not shit team, but a mediocre team around him.
Sure.
But again, that's not happening in college.
No. And even with those teams, you're probably not winning a Super Bowl.
Mm-mm.
You're having a good team. So you're picking Alabama though? Alabama over Georgia?
Yeah, I am, and I don't. I mean, I don't like making that pick just because I don't like. I mean, I was going with Oklahoma. I was going with just simply because they had the best quarterback, they had the best player in the game in Baker Mayfield. So I was going to ride that all the way to the end. And you know what? But frankly, they should have won. I thought Oklahoma should have won that game, and I thought that they should be playing Alabama in this in the national championship. But
I actually picked Georgia in that game, and I like Georgia's chances against Alabama. Of the three teams that were in the playoff, I actually liked Georgia's chances at beating Alabama better.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Alabama. Of course, Alabama's the favorite here. But I actually think Georgia's got a shot at this game, and I'll be rooting for them. And I'm not an Alabama hater, by the way. I'm not a Nick Saban hater either.
No, neither am I. I thought, you know what?
I think they've earned their respect, and they get it from me. I feel like Georgia kind of has a chip on their shoulder going into this one, though. I feel like Georgia was kind of the team that they were trying to keep out of the top four all year, and they proved their mettle. And I think they got a shot in this one. I think it's gonna be a good game.
Well, interesting enough that you bring up the chip on their shoulder. I know that UCF has, kind of been going around proclaiming themselves as national champions after they were able to beat Auburn in the Peach Bowl and complete their undefeated season. They went 13-0 this year, which is incredible.
Should have been in the playoff.
The AAC champions. Well, should they have been in the playoffs? I think what they did, going 13-0, beating Auburn in the Peach Bowl, certainly makes the case for them that they deserve a shot to be in a playoff.
Right.
But the problem with UCF is, and I know, and Deadspin came out with an article about this, I believe it was today. At whose expense should they be playing in that playoff over? Should they be playing in over Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, or Georgia? Probably not. And I'll tell you why. Because it wasn't until the conference championship game that UCF finally played a ranked opponent.
Right.
They played a 20th ranked Memphis team who it took 2 overtimes for them to beat.
Sure.
Now, I'm not saying that, and I wrote an article about this today too on the majors.net, that I don't think there's any anybody who's wrong in the sense that when it comes to their criticism towards UCF, that they don't play anybody, or the fact that UCF deserves a shot to play for something than just the winner of the Peach Bowl. Mm-hmm. But because when you look at the system right now, is it a step in the right direction to kind of eliminate controversy within the college football postseason? Mm-hmm. Yes, a 4-team playoff does make that step and does provide that step in doing that. However, it's nowhere near a perfect system, and the only thing that this illustrates is the need for there to be an expanded playoffs. And I'm not talking baby steps to an 8-team playoff, because you're still going to have that controversy. What I'm talking is a 16-team playoff.
Wow.
And I highlight this, in the article itself.
And in this 16-team playoff, I assume that the major conference winners would get an automatic entry.
The FBS conference winners would get an automatic bid. So there's...
I would imagine that would happen even in an 8-team, wouldn't you think?
Well, there's 11 conferences.
No, but just the five power conferences.
Yeah, and then you could have 3 at-larges.
Yeah.
But in this sense, you have all 11 winners of all 11 FBS conferences going. They get the automatic bid, and then you get 5 at-larges, which kind of becomes like your safety net almost when it comes to those teams who are kind of, those fringe teams. So in this sense, I would have, and this is something that Dorf actually wrote about a while ago as well, talking about a 16-team college playoff, I believe, before they even introduced the 4-team college playoff. But you would have the 16-team college football, 16-team playoff, and then your 5 at-larges. And in this sense, you would have those 5 at-larges would be teams like Alabama, teams like Wisconsin, who didn't suffer, I believe, their first loss until they played Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game.
Right.
I believe when I was writing this article, I think I had Army in there as my 5th at-large, simply because they tied with Notre Dame in the independent for their independent record.
Sure.
And then you had other teams like Washington and I forgot I think Miami was my other team. And of course, you could set rules and stipulations for this as well. Like, for instance, you could only have, no one conference can have more than one at-large team representing. If that's not something that you wanted to put in there, then fine. But again, it provides that safety net for teams who are fringe teams, perhaps have a good argument about making it, and it places more of a caveat on winning your conference as opposed to just kind of playing shit teams in order to raise your win total on the year, because that's that's what the committee was looking at this year.
Right.
That's the reason why Alabama made it and Ohio State essentially didn't, because Alabama had more wins and they favored that this year. If you went off strength of schedule, then Ohio State probably should have been in, and Alabama should have probably been on the outside looking in. But and it kind of gets messed up when it comes to UCF, because they were 13-0, but again, if you would have put them in, then there would have been a gross exaggeration on that stipulation, because again, if you want to talk about somebody not playing anybody, then that was UCF up until the last game of their, when it came to their conference championship game.
Do you know what I feel about this, Adam?
What's that?
Actually, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but I feel like at times I feel like I'm the only person in the world that actually likes the 4-game playoff, that actually thinks it's good, and that actually wants to keep it, simply because I love the tradition of New Year's Day football, and I don't want college football going into February. But and it's fine. I don't disagree with any one thing you said about the 16 game. I know a lot of people want the 8 team or 16 team, and it's cool. I would be cool with it. I genuinely would be cool with it. I hope that they would try to somehow turn those other games into some of the classic bowl games,
But
kind
you-
of like they have with
But you would though. Hear me out.
no,
Because you wouldn't be going into February. You can still have the same.
Mm-hmm.
You could still have the same basic, and I think I called it December Madness in this
I like that
article, because you'd
Make sure you get credit for that term because
You would-
somebody's going to steal it.
Yeah,
from
you would start off with your 16 teams,
Mhm.
and then you would have your Elite Eight, and then you'd have your Final Four, and then you'd have your national championship.
Right.
So you would still stretch it out throughout the majority of the month of December.
Nick Saban no longer gets a month to plan for his game.
Exactly.
He's gonna have to. Keep
And you
playing.
could and take for instance, you could still have the some of those second tier bowl games like the Holiday Bowl or the Outback Bowl or the Music City Bowl, things like that, still representing those first round games in the round of 16.
Sure.
But then once you get into the Elite Eight, then that's when your New Year's Day bowl games or the New Year's Six starts to kick in. You start having your peach, your sugar, your rose, your orange, your cotton, your fiesta. And once you get in the national championship game, the national championship game is a national championship game. So everything would still basically fall in line to how it is now, except there would be more teams represented in this all-encompassing, important playoff, as opposed to, having that playoff start on New Year's Day and then go the following week, and then that'll be over.
Yeah, that works. That does work. I mean, and I'm for my problem is with a team like UCF, I should say. Sorry, not USC. The thing is with UCF, I look at them, and to me, in my mind, they're undefeated. They should be there. Are they as good as Oklahoma, Alabama, Georgia, or who did I miss? Clemson? No, they're not. I know that. I get it. I do. I get it. I actually get it. I get why those were the four teams. They really were the four best teams. Quite frankly, I think they got it right with those four teams. But my problem with UCF is if these smaller schools in these smaller conferences can go undefeated and still not make it, then they should just be flat out disqualified from that right away. There should be a division in what in who is eligible to play in this and who is not. There should be a different division between the Division 1A and it should be split. There's quite frankly, there's just too many damn teams in it. And I understand why UCF didn't deserve to be there, but they say they didn't play. Oh, UCF didn't play anybody. No, not true. They played 13 teams. And every one of those teams was a Division 1A school, and every one of those teams showed up to play and lost. So they did. They're being penalized because they played their conference schedule.
They play their conference schedule, but they also, but you also, it's not just your conference schedule that plays into it when you're talking about a national championship.
I understand.
You also bring in your non-conference schedule, which also plays a part in whether or not you make that jump to the playoff at the end of the season. And again, I have a problem with UCF going as well. It's the same problem that I had with Boise State when we were talking the BCS. And the problem with UCF as well is that if you do bring them in, then all of a sudden you're setting a precedent. And all of a sudden you are opening yourself up to, okay, well, UCF went undefeated this year, so does that mean that Troy, if they have a 1-loss or a no-loss season, does that mean that they get to get in, or I
just look at the undefeated,
or the conference USA winner, did they get to get in? And again, I think you set a precedent in this current system right now that you in some ways have to. I don't want to say you have to live by it, but you open yourself up for far more criticism in this current format right now than what you would have if you expanded the playoff and actually go about this in a meaningful sort of way, in an adequate sort of way, in a way that can work and will work if you give it the chance.
No, and you're right. And quite frankly, one precedent I wouldn't mind setting and living by is you're undefeated, you make the playoff. I don't have a problem setting that precedent. But the problem is, people love the, oh no, 4's enough, 8's enough. Listen, how many teams make the playoffs in the NFL? 12, right? And out of how many teams?
32.
32 teams. How many teams make the playoffs in the NBA? 16. Out of 30? Is it 30 or 32?
30 teams in the NBA.
30 teams in the NBA. 16 teams make it in the NHL out of what, 32 teams, right? Or is it 30?
31 teams.
31 teams in the NHL.
It's going to be 32 here pretty soon.
4 teams make it, and we're arguing about 8 or 16 out of how many teams in the NCAA?
A lot.
100? I mean, if you're going to have a playoff, there should be more teams. I mean, really.
No, I get it.
There should. Like you're saying, Adam, there should be. I don't have a problem with the 4 game as much, but and I really don't want to see college football being played into February.
But it won't be.
Yeah.
If you
do it right under your system.
If you have a 16-team playoff, again, and I know school doesn't matter anyway, but for some people out there arguing about school, these guys aren't in class anyway throughout the majority of the month of December. And we're talking round of 16, Elite 8, Final 4, national championship game. We're talking a 4 weeks here.
Right.
4 weeks is which is usually what you get anyways during the bowl season. And again, if you're talking about money, you could still, those round of 16 games, those bowl games that you could insert into there, highest bidder.
Right.
Highest bidder. Whatever bowl game bids the highest money to be represented within the round of 16, then that's who it goes to. If it's the Bahamas Bowl or the WWE Bowl,
the Outback Bowl,
the Outback Bowl, or the TaxSlayer.com Bowl, or whatever it is, whoever pays the most money gets to represent that round of 16 bowl. Those bowl games right there. And you could even have
money makes the world go around.
And you could even have if a team finishes with 6 wins and becomes bowl eligible, then you could still have other meaningless bowl games, during bowl season.
Yeah, we love our meaningless bowl games.
Yeah, so
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, so whatever, you could still have those. They just won't be playing in the college football playoff.
Right.
That's it.
No, I'm all for it. We spent a little more time on college than I thought we would, and we can hit up some pro talk later. But anything you want to say about NFL? NFL playoffs are starting. Any teams you want to talk up early or anything going into the first round here?
It's going to be interesting to watch a team like the Rams. What they were able to do in one season, turning around from last year. Jared Goff looks like a totally different player. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. Another team is the Minnesota Vikings. Given their situation, what they were able to accomplish this year, especially with a guy like Case Keenum under center. I like another one too, Philadelphia, with Carson Wentz being down. What's Nick Foles going to be able to do? I think there's plenty of reason to worry if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan in that sense.
Right.
But just like Nick Saban in Alabama, you can never count out Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. No. They're
and Belichick.
That's. Can they go in and win another Super Bowl with Tom Brady being, north of 40 years old? Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can.
They can. You're absolutely right, Adam. They can. It's like, did the Patriots always look like the Patriots this year? No, but they're there, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're here. The playoffs have started, and it's time to play football.
You know what? I wouldn't even care if they won too. I wouldn't.
I'd like to see them win.
You know why? You know why too? Because I in some certain aspect, I like watching greatness portrayed. And this is something that, as a football fan, as an NFL fan myself, again, the Patriots aren't my team, but this is something that, it's history when you're talking NFL, when you're talking professional sports in this country.
Right.
I mean, what the Patriots have been able to do, and for one, we are witnessing the best quarterback to ever play in football, and it's not even a question anymore. I mean, that question
And
was
it'd be kind of cool to see him win one in his 40s.
Yeah,
it would. It'd just be kind of cool.
That question was put to rest a few years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even a question anymore. It's a solidified statement that Tom Brady is the best that has ever played. So yeah, I mean
yeah. You don't even hear people making the argument for Peyton Manning over Tom Brady anymore.
Brett Favre.
Yeah, the only time you even hear people talk about when disagree with you when you say Tom Brady's the greatest ever is they bring up somebody from before you were born.
Oh, yeah,
no, Johnny Unitas.
Johnny Unitas, yeah.
Was better. It's like, well, yeah, I don't know.
Different time.
Yeah,
different time.
Yeah, my parents were busy going through puberty, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure he was great.
Yeah, I mean, would Babe Ruth be the best player in today's game of baseball? Probably not.
Yeah, maybe not. I honestly don't know. You can't tell.
I would venture to say
could Babe Ruth hit Verlander? I don't know.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go ahead and say he probably could.
I actually big part of me thinks that.
I mean, yeah, could he get some hits off Verlander? Yeah, but would he be as great as what he was back in the 20s and 30s? Probably not.
My super educated answer to that question is I have no clue. I have no clue. I don't know.
I just think we have a different type of player nowadays, and I don't know. I'm excited. I'm interested to see how the NFL playoffs play out here. Look, and I will say this, and it may be some. I know it may ruffle some feathers amongst
we ruffle feathers
NFL people, and even yourself, Josh. But yeah. I mean, I think Tom Brady's the best to ever play. I don't think he's the best player in the league right now, though.
No, I don't either.
I think the here and now. I think Aaron Rodgers is a better player than Tom Brady is.
Yeah, I'm not even sure Tom Brady's number 2. To be honest with you,
as far as the all-encompassing argument on whether or not Tom Brady's the best to ever play,
and you put yourself in that playoff situation or that Super Bowl situation, I'm not sure you want anybody other than Tom Brady that day. Week to week, any given Sunday, no, he's not the guy. But hey, who is he's still good.
He's still really, really good. Yeah.
But hey, switching gears, we'll talk more NFL in the coming weeks. We usually do this time of year or try to at least hit some sports stuff. But we talked a lot of sports tonight. Dude, did you see The Last Jedi yet?
I haven't. I know you have, though.
Yes, I've seen it twice.
I read all the spoilers, though.
Yeah, no, I know you know everything because you're so weird.
And spoiler alert, I know Snoke dies.
Yes. Spoiler alert, big time on this, yeah.
Luke becomes one with the Force.
Snoke and Luke both die. I dug it, man. I liked The Last Jedi.
Can I do a couple more spoilers?
Yeah, go for it, man.
There's a point in time that you think that Rey and Kylo are going to team up.
Yeah, well, they do team up.
They do team up, but it doesn't last.
Right. And that, honestly, is the best scene in the movie.
Is it?
It really is. I mean, action scene-wise,
Does it kind of eliminate some of the hate you have for Kylo?
Big time.
Oh, does it?
Big time, yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, big time. Seriously, no.
You still hate The Force Awakens, though, right?
Force Awakens was terrible. Force Awakens ruined a lot of stuff. And the thing is about Force Awakens, really, I'm a big time Force Awakens hater. Loved Rogue One. I liked Last Jedi a lot. The stuff that The Force Awakens ruined, it's still ruined. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I'm not certain that it's not wrong to still say that The Force Awakens still ruined the whole saga. Or at least ruined the sequels. But, considering what a dumpster fire The Force Awakens was, for them to actually turn around and make what I thought was a pretty damn good movie with The Last Jedi was impressive. It was cool. It was a cool movie. Why Disney, or whoever you want to pin it on, decided that, okay, we have got Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford all together for another trilogy. They didn't know Carrie Fisher was going to die. And we're going to never give them a scene together. we're going to not center the movies around these characters that everybody loves and just have been begging the world to see, you know, together again. Why they felt the need to do this, I have no idea. Why they felt the need to not bring back Lando Calrissian, I have no idea.
Why haven't they done that yet?
Yeah, I mean, and in this movie, I actually thought they were going to at one point with the character they were talking about that ended up being Benicio del Toro's really dumb character. And there's a whole like story arc with Finn and this chick Rose that's really dumb in this movie. Really dumb.
Captain Phasma.
Yes, Captain Phasma's in it, and another huge spoiler: Finn kills her, which is awesome. So this totally redeems Finn's character as being. I didn't hate Finn; he was just kind of useless.
Yeah,
and he's useless in this movie to some degree too. At least his story arc is. His character's not. His character could have been really cool if they didn't have it turned dumb at the end. Not because of him, because of Rose, who was like basically the new Jar Jar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was terrible character, and people are all mad, like, oh, they're like ripping on the actress. Like, I'm not trying to rip on her as a person. She signed up to be in Star Wars. Who wouldn't turn it out? But the haters are being hateful and stupid. But they're right. Her character was terrible. It was ridiculous. Yeah, totally dumb. But yeah, they did a lot of redeeming. You know, I mean, I felt like the whole movie was trying to fix what Force Awakens screwed up. And they didn't fix Force Awakens, but they kind of succeeded. It was a cool movie.
You know what though? That doesn't seem like a good platform to stand on though. When you're trying to fix the mistakes of a previous film.
You only have 3 movies, and you got to spend one of them trying to fix that one. So now, what the hell do you do with the third one?
Exactly.
I have no idea.
Exactly, and I mean, and I guess you can make the argument that that's a problem they ran into with George Lucas ran into when he was doing the second trilogy, the
prequels.
Yeah, the prequels. When the Phantom Menace came out, there was plenty wrong with that when it came to Jar Jar or Jake Lloyd's acting.
It didn't ruin anything though. It still told the story that we know needed to be told.
Yes,
and in some ways, they sidetracked and told the story in a dumb way with Jar Jar and things like that.
You're absolutely.
But it did tell the story the way it needed to be told.
And we mentioned this. We mentioned this too before when we were last on, Josh. That one of the biggest problems with these new movies is they didn't stand alone.
No.
They didn't stand on their own 2 feet. It seemed like they're always relying on something else that happened, or they were trying to rehash, A New Hope or whatever. And that's what I don't think Star Wars fans want to see that. I think Star Wars fans, for the most part, want to see something that is going to be memorable. And something that they're going to be able to take into the next movie. Because with The Force Awakens, what were you able to take into the next movie? What? Luke appearing for 3 seconds?
Right.
Okay,
you killed the best character, and Kylo just got wasted, got beat by somebody who'd never held a lightsaber before, which, in this movie, I mean, that was like my biggest complaint. Snoke says that. Actually says that very thing. I mean, he says that to Kylo Ren. Like you got beat by somebody who never held a lightsaber before. I mean, he's ragging on him. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, you're right, Snoke. He did. But Snoke was kind of anticlimactic. They acted like this was going to be the big reveal. You're going to find out who he was, find out all this stuff, and he just dies.
And I guess you could still find out who he was. And there's still the question out there and who are Rey's parents. And
Well, they kind of answer that, supposedly, but are they telling the truth? We don't know.
Yeah.
But they answer that in this movie.
Who is it?
Well, they tell you that Rey's parents are nobody.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
They say that, no, they're scavengers. They sold you for beer money. They're nobody. Kylo kind of tells her. He's like, I've seen it. I saw it. You saw it too. You know the answer. You know who your parents are.
Yeah.
They're nobody.
But again, though, that could be.
It could be wrong.
It could be.
But if they're following the model of Empire Strikes Back, the big parent reveal that you don't know does not turn out to be false. You know, because people always say you find out that Vader is Luke's father in Empire. You actually don't. Vader says he is Luke's father in Empire. Luke doesn't believe him. Obi-Wan told you the opposite. You don't actually find out that Vader's Luke's father till Yoda tells him.
But actually,
in
what he
Return of the
told him
Jedi.
was true from a certain point of view.
It was. It was. It was, for sure.
God, I can't believe. Come on, Josh, you're better than that.
And this is what I'm saying. But he doesn't tell you that until Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that line you said is from Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
not from The
Empire.
Empire Strikes Back. You know, I mean, and that, so we view
But
it
what
now.
Vader told him, though, was actually true.
It was true. It was totally true. It was totally true from a certain point of view. But
No, from every view.
and and I was actually going to use that line about it being true from a certain point of view. And to me, like I liked this movie, but I don't really view it as canon.
The Last Jedi.
Yeah, Last Jedi or Force Awakens. To me, I view these as canon is what George Lucas said and what George Lucas wanted and what we saw in 6 films and even the stuff in between those movies, cartoons, things like that George Lucas approved. But to me, this is Disney fan fiction. Rogue One and The Last Jedi are examples of Disney fan fiction that I thought were pretty damn cool.
Mm-hmm.
Force Awakens is an example of Disney fan fiction that
Rogue
I thought
One,
was...
you'd say, is fan fiction?
Well, you know, I have zero problem saying that Rogue One, I totally accept it as canon. To me, that entire movie, and I loved that movie, that entire movie is based on one line from the scroll of A New Hope, and that's a story that Lucas chose not to tell. They went into that story, they went completely off Lucas's canon, and they made a damn good movie. But... you know, I mean, to me, it's just a really good fan film, you know, and I like Last Jedi as a cool Disney fan film, but it's not the vision that I ever thought of Star Wars growing up watching it. I had my issues with, like, I wasn't a huge fan of the books, but I personally like that vision better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my, the EU, now called Legends, you know, view of it all. So yeah, I mean, to me,
Is it the leaders and legends? Is that
no, it's not.
No.
That's not that. No, that's back to college football. But I just I liked it. But to me, like, this is all just kind of like Disney fan fiction, and it's cool. Like, some of it's cool.
You know what? Maybe an unpopular opinion. Well, first of all, I think, and and in some ways I hate saying this because it feels like I'm kind of betraying the original trilogy, which is obviously just, amazing in its own right.
Right.
But Rogue One, I mean, I just saw it for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was the best Star Wars
I know a lot of big time Star Wars fans that say that Rogue One is their favorite Star Wars
they've
movie.
made. I mean, the characters that were introduced. I mean, you were disappointed at the end that they died.
No, it was cool.
I mean, the characters. I didn't have any problem, essentially, with any character that they introduced in that film. I thought every character that they introduced was top notch, from the imperial robot that they reprogrammed.
Right. K2SO is awesome.
Yeah, downward. I thought it was excellent.
You know what, Adam? I was just talking to an old friend of mine who I hadn't talked to in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Just went out to dinner with him last week. About 2 weeks ago, right before Christmas, And just went out to dinner with him. Hadn't talked to him in a while, and we're both big Star Wars fans. So we started talking about Star Wars, and he said the same thing. He said that Rogue One is his favorite Star Wars movie. And the thing he pointed out that I had not thought of, and I've watched Rogue One about 25 times, I bet already.
Yeah.
He had said to me, is like, in every single Star Wars movie, there's a dumb character. There's some dumb comic relief character. Maybe it's a character you love, like C-3PO or something, but there's some dumb character, except Rogue One. Rogue One doesn't have the dumb character.
You know who served as that in Rogue One, but they weren't a dumb character, was the Imperial robot.
Well, it was K2SO.
Yeah. But he kind of played like
he added some comic relief.
He added some comic relief, but he wasn't stupid though. Like Jar Jar Binks was a stupid character.
Oh yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was a stupid slapdick character.
Right.
That's what Jar Jar was.
Yeah, he was some silly little tickle butt character for the kids or something.
I mean,
they just wrecked every scene he was in.
I mean, what we saw in Rogue One was witty humor.
Right.
That's what it was.
And they poked fun at some of the old stuff with that. With, with C-3PO and the odds of taking on a Imperial Star Destroyers 3,720 to 1. With K2SO instead, it was, do you know what the odds of her using that gun against you? High. It's very high. He doesn't care. Like, he's just like he's not here to give you some dumb thing. He's here to like just telling you, like, no, you're stupid. Why are you doing that? Yeah,
but I mean, see, I don't want to make it sound like I'm Reagan or you're Reagan on C-3PO, because I like C-3PO.
Oh, me too. I
thought C-3PO and R2-D2 are great characters.
Everybody loves R2.
Yeah, I mean they're great characters.
Even my friend who was like really talking up Rogue One, he didn't go as far to say K2SO. He said K2SO was his second favorite droid ever. Second, of course, obviously R2-D2.
But even in Rogue One, it was cool seeing them at the very end. Yeah, it was awesome seeing them at the very end.
They've been in every movie, so they threw that in.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know if they'll be able to do that with the Han Solo movie. Probably not.
The Vader character was awesome, even though. And I'll tell you what, that one scene where he was, back at his castle or fortress, whatever it is you want to call it, that whole scene was excellent. Then the very, very end, I mean, that whole scene where it's dark and then all of a sudden you see the lightsaber light up.
It's incredible.
And he's just using the Force to just wipe everybody out. And the rebels sitting here passing along the plans. And I'm getting chills right now thinking about it when it finally reaches Princess Leia at the end.
Oh, it's so amazing.
I mean, it's amazing.
It is. It's so amazing.
And you know what? I told you this, Josh, and this may be an unpopular opinion, but Gareth Edwards, who directed Rogue One, I wouldn't care if he went and they remade them all.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care if he went if he got the okay, went back and remade every single Star Wars movie that was made. Because you know what you see now between that one, and in some case, I haven't seen Rogue One, but you said that, not Rogue One, but
Last Jedi.
But Last Jedi is somewhat comparable to Rogue One.
Yeah, Rogue One's better.
I think because what you're seeing with those movies is something that you've seen with the Batman movies, for instance, is a complete is a huge difference from the. Who was it? The Christian Bale Batman as opposed to the Bruce or the what's his face? Michael Keaton Batman or the Val Kilmer Batman. And in, I guess, some ways, the Ben Affleck Batman. But, I mean, there's some very real differences there. And some people may like that, some people may not. But for me, I prefer the Christian Bale Batman over any of them, just because it offered a I don't want to say a more real aspect to everything, but it gave you a less, because I thought the Tim Burton ones were just too Tim Burton for me.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, it was like,
I mean, it's like
Nightmare Before Christmas, and then here's Batman.
Exactly. And you know what? I know a lot of people didn't like the Danny DeVito Penguin character. I didn't mind it so much.
Yeah,
but
I'm with you.
But if we went,
it's better than George Clooney anyway.
Yeah,
as Batman. I mean,
but something that you've said that I agree with. I thought George Clooney wasn't a bad Bruce Wayne.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't a bad Bruce Wayne, but as Batman, he was awful. But Gareth Edwards, if he went back and remade the prequels, and yeah, I know it might be unpopular and it may be blasphemous, but if he went back and remade the original trilogy,
I'd rather see him. Make. There's just so many stories to tell in the Star Wars universe. I'd rather see him make movies that take place right in the midst of it, rather than have him remake it. And I don't want to get like political or too philosophical or anything with this, but I feel like in a lot of ways that, art imitates life and life imitates art.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people would agree with that statement. But I feel like with Rogue One, and even to some degree with The Last Jedi as well, I feel like it is very telling of our planet right now. And I feel like these movies are really showing, I feel like there is really a urge to rebel for a lot of people. And of course, the original trilogy were stories of rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
They were stories of, I've even heard people say, like, the rebels, technically in Star Wars, they're terrorists. And the Empire's the government, right? And they're, they're blowing stuff up. And,
This is what we saw in Rogue One.
Yeah, and in Rogue One, they really highlight that. To some degree in Last Jedi as well. But in Rogue One, they really highlight that. And I feel like it's the world really looking at our current culture. I don't mean necessarily in the United States, but, just worldwide, everywhere. And I feel like they're really looking at, like, they're ready for the dirty side of rebellion. Maybe they weren't in 1977. But they are now to some degree. Maybe not. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. But they really go out of your way to show you that in Rogue One, that the rebels they're rebels. And some of them are not too savory. Some of them are downright unsavory.
Mm-hmm.
The Saw Gerrera character is just really, he's a terrorist. He basically is what he is. He's there to, he's a freedom fighter.
See the one with the big gun? Is that guy in Rogue One?
Yeah, the guy he almost has like the makeshift Darth Vader thing. The Forrest Whitaker's character.
Oh, yeah.
Him. And, you're thinking of Baze Malbus.
Yes.
Yeah. And I loved that they had the Baze Malbus and Chirrut Îmwe characters. The blind.
Oh, that guy was awesome.
Those characters were so cool, and I thought it was perfect that they put those characters in because Star Wars, a big underlying thing in Star Wars is the Force, of course. That's huge, is the Force. But how do you tell that story with keeping the Force in it? You can't really.
Mm-hmm.
There's no Jedis. It's in between there. But they still were able to show you how the Force matters and how there was still a Force user, even if he wasn't a Jedi. He didn't have a lightsaber, but he had the Force. And it's actually gave the answer to the question that people have been asking about the original trilogy for years. When we got Star Wars, the original Star Wars. They're about to go try to blow up the Death Star, right? The only Jedi they know of just died, or just became one with the Force, and Ben Kenobi. You got Luke, who they just met 5 minutes ago. Oh yeah, he's he's tooling with the Force. He's kind of trying to bring back the Jedi, all this stuff. But what do they say when they go to fight the Death Star? General Dodonna says to him, "May the Force be with you." So they go off, and they're like, why is he saying that? These guys aren't the Force. These guys aren't Jedis. But it reminds us, it shows you that, and this is part of Lucas's idea, the Force is kind of the religion of the good guys. Back in the Old Republic, which they're trying to rebel to get back to, the Force was something that was honored and respected and loved by not people that had the Force, but just by regular people who were protected by the Jedi. The Jedi aren't the only people that believe in the Force. They're kind of like the priests of the Force, if you will. And that's why these people are all saying, "May the Force be with you." They want to come back to that. They want to bring that back. Yeah, exactly. It's their religion. It's spiritual. And they're saying that, and it makes sense. And they're showing that what does the Empire do to really get the rebellion going? They blow up the Holy City. They go to Jeddah in Rogue One, and they blow up the whole city. And this is gonna spark the rebellion. That's what happens with rebellions. The government or the controlling force with their iron boot does something that will either destroy the spirits of the people completely, or it will spark that last bit of rebellion or hope that will bring it forward. You know, this is basically like if some evil empire just blew up Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's different sects of the Force. There's different, well, kind of like there's different sects of religion here. But what are our, 3 of the major religions here in the real world? Well, you got Judaism, you got Christianity, you got Islam, and what city is holy to all of them? Jerusalem. This would be, and that's kind of what they showed you with Jeddah. Jeddah was a kind of a crazy place, a bit of an uneasy place.
Mm-hmm.
It was holy to a lot of people, but it's also, it's not necessarily the safest place to be hanging around either.
Mm-hmm.
It's under imperial control, and there's still a lot of zealots there. Some of them are just very religious and true, and some of them are willing to blow you up if you want to mess with it. And I thought that was cool. I thought they really did a great job of showing what a rebellion was about, what it could be, the dirty underbelly of a rebellion, but they also really tied into the original trilogy perfectly in that movie. But, Last Jedi had its issues. And Rogue One, I think, was damn near perfect.
Yeah.
Last Jedi had its issues. I don't understand why. It kind of sucks that we never really got to see Luke be awesome. At the end of The Last Jedi, we get to see Luke do incredible things that no other Jedi has done. It's kind of like a new power for a Jedi. Basically, he's astral projects himself into this thing. But I was really hoping to see Luke kick somebody's ass at some point.
And it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen. I wanted to see Luke versus Snoke in a all-out saber fight, and that's something that the original trilogy gave us. We got to see Yoda v. Palpatine in the Senate floor, lightsabers going.
And then Luke and
I would have liked to see that. Yeah, we got to see Luke and Vader. I would have liked to see the some of the top dogs square off, because who's going to even fight in the next one? I guess Rey and Kylo can go at it, but that's not like a true mastery of the Force. I wanted to see the true amazing Force users go at it.
Even the original one too, or the prequel, you had Obi-Wan and Anakin go at it.
Right.
First.
Right.
And their first meeting
that
against
was not anticlimactic at all.
No,
that was climatic.
That was again another one of my favorite scenes throughout the entire Star Wars world, or galaxy, whatever you want to call it. I hear what you're saying though, John. You made some, incredible points there, and I you'd always turn to Star Wars to kind of look at that, those real world aspects.
You do
about
There's a reason why so many people love those movies.
Yeah,
and it's not just because of lightsabers and
blasters,
and
spaceships and robots and stuff like that. Yeah,
of course that's awesome, but there is more to it than that. Do you know what other character was really cool in Last Jedi that I thought was decent in Force Awakens? I thought he was he's okay, but he was really cool as Poe. The Poe character in this he lent some great comic relief that really went back to, the old style of the movies. Like the opening scene with Poe is really funny and cool, and he's
the Porgs or whatever the hell they're called.
They were dumb, but they didn't ruin it.
No,
they were just there, and I liked it that they were like the goofy, cutesy character, but you see them more like getting their face smacked against the wall more than anything. They're kind of like...
Chewie was in it, I'm assuming?
Yes, Chewie is awesome.
Okay.
Chewie is awesome. No, you get a great scene at the end with, when they're coming in for the Resistance and nobody's answering their call to come help, and then Chewie and Rey come in the Millennium Falcon and just start blowing people up. just going crazy. You gotta love it. And, you see Kylo Ren. That was his dad's ship.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're that's probably the best part is, the Finn's probably coolest part in the movie. And he's like, God, they hate that ship. And he knows, if Kylo sees it and he knows exactly what that is. He's like everybody attack that ship. But, very, very cool scene.
You know what else is cool too, Josh? And this is kind of harkening back to Rogue One, but certainly can be a factor going forward with these other movies is the use of CGI.
Yeah.
Notably with Grand Moff Tarkin in Rogue One and
of course Princess Leia
as well.
Just briefly, but very important scene.
I know. Again, the problem that people have with this is really quite remarkable.
Yeah.
First of all, they got the family's permission to,
of course.
in order to resurrect these actors. And I think Grand Moff Tarkin's character, the actor who played him, I think died in the mid-90s.
Peter Cushing.
Yep. And obviously, unfortunately, Carrie Fisher's no longer with us as well. Yet she was alive when this movie was made.
Right.
And they just made
she just wasn't 20 anymore.
Yeah, she wasn't 20 anymore. But this is part of technology, movie technology moving forward. And as long as families are okay with it, I don't see any reason why anybody else should have a problem with it.
I don't get it either, Adam. I don't understand this. It was actually very foreign to me when I heard that, basically the way you phrased it while we were prepping for the show was that the ethics of using CGI to recreate dead actors, and yeah, that's not the first I've heard of it, but I liked the way you put it, and I don't view it as unethical. No, I actually think it's really cool. I think, if anything, it is really mainly what it is it's a way to be able to tell the story regardless, and to make these characters live forever, even though, unfortunately, no people do live forever. Yeah. But also, I just view it as an honor.
Yeah.
I mean, God, if I was Peter Cushing's son or grandson,
I'd be thrilled.
I would think it'd be awesome that they had to put Grand Moff Tarkin back in these movies.
That's my dad.
Right. That would be awesome.
That's cool as hell, being able to see him once again in some ways acting, even though it's not him really, right. But him, appearing in this new incredible movie.
Mm-hmm. And something else they did with Rogue One is they took actual footage from A New Hope and inserted it. Kind of mixed it up and inserted it, and I thought that was awesome as well.
Yeah, I have no problem.
Gold leader and red leader in there, and those were scenes and phrases that they just pulled from A New Hope, basically.
Yeah, and again, I don't. And of course, there's probably going to be somebody out there that has a problem with that. Mm-hmm. Just like they had a problem with making Carrie Fisher look younger and putting Peter Cushing in the Grand Moff Tarkin character again, but. If you have a problem with that, do you have a problem with the cartoons portraying Grand Moff Tarkin as Grand Moff Tarkin? I mean, what are we doing here? Right. I mean, this is CGI technology making that next step. Yeah. And if the family has a problem with this, then that's something else to take into consideration.
Sure.
If they don't want that being done,
but that hasn't been a problem.
No, it hasn't. I haven't heard Peter Cushing's family come out and say that this wasn't something they wanted. Quite frankly, I've heard quite the opposite.
They're too busy cashing checks.
Yes, exactly. They're cashing checks on on Disney using his likeness, in another Star Wars movie that was awesome, and. This is something, quite frankly, I'd like to see going forward. Mm-hmm. I mean, just because Carrie Fisher died, I don't think that necessarily means
in an untimely way, younger than we thought she would, and all this stuff.
I think that means that we shouldn't be able to ever see Carrie Fisher in another Star Wars movie. Did she die at the end of Last Jedi?
She does not. She lives, and you think she's going to die, and she survives.
Okay, so what happens next? Are we going to have some lame, in between... storyline that we'll never get to see.
And that will be the death of Princess Leia.
Yeah, that'll be the death of one of the most important Star Wars characters, throughout all of,
Personally, with the way Carrie Fisher, who is one of my favorites ever, the way she, very sadly passed away in between these movies, I would love to see a CG Princess Leia who survives Episode 9.
Yeah.
I would. I really would. At this point, I almost feel like it's tacky to kill that character.
Oh, absolutely.
I would love to... And you know what else I would love to see? And I probably won't get this. I'd love to not only see Princess Leia in Episode 9 and to survive Episode 9, I'd love to see Princess Leia with a lightsaber in her hand.
Why not?
I really would. I would love to see that.
Why not?
And I almost feel like at this point that should be the end of this all. If Kylo Ren is so powerful, and Rey in her infancy and her Force use, although she's going to be so powerful later on, you know, if she's not strong enough to take on Kylo Ren yet, I would love to see Princess Leia have to actually take on the mantle of the other Jedi, as Yoda and Ben Kenobi told Luke she was. I would love to see her take it and actually have her finish the problem that she created with Kylo Ren.
And that's something that we haven't seen. We haven't seen Carrie Fisher in that sense.
Right. I would like to see that.
The closest that we've seen Carrie Fisher to fighting is what she did on Endor.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? My favorite character in the original trilogy was Yoda. He was a puppet. And they couldn't make the puppet do the Jedi stunts that he needed to do in episodes 2 and 3. So they made him CG. Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher, God rest her soul, wasn't actually Princess Leia.
No.
That is a character.
Yes.
The character of Princess Leia, we may need to CG her to have her do some cool stuff later on. I don't have a problem with it. I think it would be awesome.
You know what I want to see? I want to see, and this is, I'm not excited for the new Harrison Ford or the Han Solo, story that they're going to be coming out with. I'm not excited for it because it's not going to be Harrison Ford portraying that.
Yeah.
Now, I would be excited for it if they CGI a young Harrison Ford in that role and get Harrison Ford to do the voice work for it.
I think that would be better as well.
That's something that I would be excited for, and that's something.
Plenty of pictures of Harrison Ford as a young man.
Yes.
Young, good-looking, studly Indiana Jones, Decker from Blade Runner, and Han Solo from A New Hope.
Yes.
He's everywhere.
Why can't we do that?
American Graffiti.
Exactly. Why can't we do that? Instead, we're going to be putting an actor in his place, a younger actor who looks nothing like Harrison Ford,
right? In
that role, in a role that only Harrison Ford can play.
A character that's completely iconic.
I mean, what are we doing here? Are we gonna? Is somebody else going to all of a sudden portray Luke? Right. In some prequel that happens before.
That'd be really boring. He'd just be like a moisture farmer.
Yeah, it's a moisture farmer with
Uncle Owen. This sucks. Yeah, I know it sucks. Keep farming moisture.
But you know what I mean. What are we doing here?
No, I agree.
I mean, if we have the technology to do this and to make it look incredibly convincing, because I think you're telling me the story of somebody we know who went and saw the movie and thought that Peter Cushing was actually still alive.
Yes.
And they're like, no, that's not actually.
Like, oh, he looks great. Looks great. He's been dead since before you were in high school.
But I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Let's stop. Let's stop. With this false sense of rage over these guys making a cool movie,
right? And maybe the Han Solo movie will be cool. I'll be there opening night. Hopefully it's cool. I feel like there's so much they could wreck with the Han Solo character, and I don't want them to. And I don't know that I trust Disney to not wreck it, but. We'll see. Maybe it'll be cool. I mean, it'll be Han, Chewie, and Lando, and that could be cool. I don't know if it's going to be like the Battle of Tanab or what exactly it's going to be. I mean, that's how they made Rogue One cool, was by taking one line from the A New Hope scroll that, just says, the Rebellions won their first battle against the evil Galactic Empire. I mean, boom, they take that one line and make a movie about it. I don't know. Lando looks at him and says, some of you must have told him about my little maneuver at the Battle of Tanab. Maybe that will be the whole damn movie, and maybe that could be cool. I'm hoping, maybe it's Lando in the Millennium Falcon and losing a game of sabacc to Han, and losing the ship or whatever it is. But what I find weird about this is Han Solo's an asshole in A New Hope until the very end of the movie when he decides, like, oh, you know what, I'm not going to be an a-hole, and I'm going to turn around and I'm going to go help Luke in the rebellion. But he's a he's a swindler, he's a scoundrel before that. So I feel like this movie's going to have to try to make him, like, nice or good or a hero, and
It's not the case.
it's not him yet. It's not him yet. But otherwise, they're going to be like, oh, they made Han Solo look like a jerk. Like, well,
He is a jerk.
Yeah, and so I feel like I don't know what they're gonna do. I mean, maybe they're gonna show him rescuing Chewie or something.
That'd be cool.
You know, and that could be cool. So, but I don't really know exactly how they tie all that in. And
what happens to what happens to that other Wookiee that was
Tarful?
Yeah.
I don't know. I do not know the end story of Tarful.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, he had a bigger role in
the
Clone Wars, but
I mean, and who knows? Disney could change all this, but the idea was that the Empire enslaves the Wookiees afterwards. They the Wookiees are big and strong and they're rebellious, so they crush the Wookiees' spirit and kind of turn them into
slaves,
work camp slaves,
Yeah.
basically, to keep them under their boot. And I guess in the books, kind of the idea was that Han Solo, I'm not a book expert either, so for somebody out there that knows them all by heart, I could be screwing up. But basically, Han Solo saves Chewie from this camp and screws up his own, potential for being something. So then he becomes an outlaw by rescuing Chewbacca, and Chewie owes him a life debt forever. Basically, is the idea. So I mean, he has done good things in the past.
He's an anti-hero.
Right, he is. I mean, and he makes that jump from anti-hero to hero when he comes and shoots that TIE fighter, and opens up the shop for Luke to blow up the Death Star.
Yep.
Doesn't just take the money and run.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, it could be cool. We'll see. Personally, the movie I'd like to see, if they're going to do one of those, is I'd love to see an Obi-Wan Kenobi spinoff, because you got Ewan McGregor ready to go, willing to do this. He's the perfect age, because you want it to take place in between 3 and 4. He's aging right along with the movie, so do it right now, and you can make this perfect movie of his adventures while he's on Tatooine looking over Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, they already screwed up, and in the cartoons had him have his face off against Darth Maul again. Because, they brought Darth Maul back to life in the cartoons, which was kind of dumb in its inception, but cool later. And sure enough...
That's what happened? They bring back Darth Maul?
Yeah. And I don't like how they did it at first, but then later it's great.
Yeah.
In the Clone Wars cartoons and in the Rebels cartoons, they bring him back. He's like an old man, Darth Maul is. He's been hiding for all these years. And he then goes and tracks down Kenobi because he wants revenge. And they have their final showdown. And Kenobi takes him out. That would have been better for the movie, I think. Have Ray Park back as Darth Maul. And
did they ever say anything about Qui-Gon in the cartoons or anything?
Yes. Not a ton. But in the last season of the Clone Wars, that's when Yoda kind of realizes that Qui-Gon kind of stayed alive in the Force. Not quite the same way Yoda and Obi-Wan become one with the Force, but he's still there, he's still present, and that's when Qui-Gon kind of communes with Yoda, and Yoda learns how to become one with the Force while he's still alive.
Okay.
And then Yoda teaches Obi-Wan. So that's why, Obi-Wan's been studying this and practicing all these years on Tatooine.
Okay.
But yeah, and part of that too, and I mean, it's a very cool thing. Yoda actually, it's kind of like a big, in Force dream sequence, but Yoda actually has to fight like an evil version of himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but then he realizes that it's not about completely pushing aside the dark side. It's about acknowledging that there is darkness in everyone, and that you're not really, you're not. You can't just completely ignore it.
That's
you have to acknowledge that it's there, fight it off. and then that's how you become one with the
That's
Force.
something that my brother and I were kind of discussing on Christmas Eve. Actually,
Cool.
was the whole premise of the Gray Jedi
Yes.
and how Qui-Gon may have been actually a Gray Jedi, not necessarily
not a dark Jedi.
not a dark Jedi or a Sith.
And many people put Mace Windu in that category as well, with his Vapad fighting style that unleashes or brings out the fear in the opponent. He would say that he's not technically using fear or the Force to attack. He's using his opponent's fear to go in towards them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's kind of cool. The Gray Jedi thing is big on YouTube.
Is it?
Yeah, you can find a lot of cool videos about
But
about what is a Gray Jedi necessarily. And and some people even kind of put Luke in that category now.
Is a Gray Jedi?
Yeah, with the way he shut himself off from the Force and the.
Said enough of it, man.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. But no, I dug The Last Jedi though, and so I hope there's not too many people listening who haven't seen it because we just spoiled the hell out of it.
Yeah.
But
if you haven't seen it by now, you should have spoiled it for yourself already. So.
Right. So, but I dug it. I was a big Force Awakens hater, and I really like Last Jedi. I mean, I thought it was cool. I had issues with it though. I have issues with where they took the whole thing, and some people took issue with Princess Leia. She basically it's blown into space and uses the Force to bring herself back to the ship. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, what?" She all of a sudden, it's like I actually liked that scene because I thought that Princess Leia is supposed to be like the second strongest Force user in the galaxy, and The Force Awakens just ignored that. Like Disney has just ignored the idea that Princess Leia has the Force. She's supposed to have the Force.
It seems like in The Force Awakens, she's just an old lady.
Yeah, it did. And it's like, she's a grizzled general. It's like,
yeah,
she never used the Force. She never built a lightsaber.
She's like Mon Mothma in a sense.
Right. It's just not as skinny. But no, I dug it though, man. Hey, we got pretty deep into Star Wars tonight. But next week, we're getting super deep. We're having our Deep Issues show, making a comeback. I'm glad we got to come back after our holiday break with just a regular show like tonight. Talk a little sports, talk a little Star Wars. But next week, we're going to have our Deep Issues panel back on. And Scientology, man. This will be a good one. We've been waiting for this one for a while.
Which gets its start from science fiction.
Right. Right.
L. Ron Hubbard and
Battlefield Earth, which was nowhere near as entertaining as Star Wars. But
no, I don't. I hesitate even mentioning them both in the same sentence.
I never did read that book either. I always kind of wanted to read. I've heard the book is really cool.
Have you seen the movie?
I've seen the movie. It's dumb. But I mean, what do you that doesn't mean that the book was dumb.
No, doesn't.
There's a whole lot of dumb movies off good books. My favorite book ever is Dune, and for those people out there who've only seen the movie, I urge you to
read the book.
Please read that book because it's one of the best books ever written. Not one of the best sci-fi books ever written. One of the best books ever written. And a cool book and cool book series. But yeah, the David Lynch movie's a flaming turd. But next week, Scientology should be a cool show. That is a topic Adam and I have been talking about a lot off air, over the years, a little bit on air too, but off air, for a long time. So we'll have a lot of cool stuff to say about it, and we'll dig in deep on that one for the next one. That will be.
And can we premise right now? I'm personally not a fan of Scientology.
No, nor am I.
So
nor am I. And we will try to not make too many jokes about how next week's episode is episode number 69.
I'll leave that up to Ed.
But I really want to emphasize the word try. Because when you try, you often fail.
Do or do not, there's no try.
Yeah, exactly. But so I'm not going to say do or do not. We're going to try to not make jokes about how it's episode number 69, but
Yoda would be disappointed.
Yeah, but we will probably make some jokes about how it's episode number 69. Hopefully they're clever. Because the jokes will happen, so hopefully they're clever and laughable, but they might just be dumb. They might be really dumb. Hey, do we get a news section tonight? Do you want to go around the empire with Adam Hernandez?
We do. Leading off tonight, and we haven't talked about Trump all night until now. He came out today and said that there is no deaths in the commercial airline sector in 2017. This is a fact that President Trump appeared to take credit for in a tweet. Actually, this morning, his claim prompted others to wonder if he was prepared to take responsibility for other year-end stats like the number of gun deaths, hurricane deaths, and coal mining deaths that happened this year. And actually, yes, it is true that there were no commercial aviation deaths in the United States in 2017. That's actually been the fact since I believe like 2009 that there's been no commercial aviation deaths in the United States. So flying in the United States is incredibly safe and has been long before Donald Trump has
statistically the safest way to travel.
Yeah, has taken office in the United States. So
fewer gun deaths actually in a lot of cities as well. Not that I believe he should get credit for commercial airline deaths or gun deaths or any of these other things. I don't think he should be, I don't really think a president should be overly criticized or overly praised for things that just kind of happen throughout the country.
Another one with Donald Trump was on a tweet storm this morning. Another one. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un just stated that the nuclear button is on his desk at all times. Will someone from his depleted and food-starved regime please inform him that I too have a nuclear button, but it is much bigger and more powerful, and a more powerful one than his, and my button works.
Adam, I have to tell you, despite the myriad of crazy tweets we have seen from Donald Trump, since he's been president and before his presidency, while running for president and even before running for president, I know he has had a lot of crazy tweets. When I saw that one, I thought it was fake. I did. I honestly thought, like, that one is a fake tweet that's, that some jerk liberal is putting out there. And I was like, all right, let's hit the internet. Let's find out that this is fake. And
who gave Bernie Sanders Donald Trump's password?
Right, yeah. Like, what jerk is out there doing this one? Or this isn't really they took that tweet off one of the numerous fake Donald Trump ones and then photoshopped at real Donald Trump on the top. Nope, that one was real though.
Yeah,
he really said that. So. I'm sorry. Listen, Trump supporters, I empathize with some Trump supporters sometimes. I feel that they have a point. I think that Donald Trump's actually done a decent thing or two as president of the United States, but you just can't.
That's taking nuclear weapons lightly.
You just can't support a guy, or you just can't go to bat for a guy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I am trying to give Donald Trump, the president of our country, who I always try to support the president of the country, the president of our nation. I'm a patriot, but you just can't go to bat for a guy that says and does stuff like that when they're in that position. I mean, for God's sakes, I post stuff on social media sometimes, and I think, before I hit post on that, should I do that? Because I'm in, a position here, with my podcasts and stuff, and I don't want to screw up anything and say the wrong thing and potentially screw that up. I'm nobody. Okay, I host a podcast that I hope a couple people listen to, and I still think, hey, if I was just anybody, maybe I would say that, but I'm not going to say it because, I have some people listening, and I do host a podcast, and I should think twice before I go out and say that. And maybe if I was just somebody that didn't give a shit, Just didn't care at all. I'd probably say that because that's what I feel right now.
You're not
but I'm not gonna say that because it's gonna come back at me later, and I don't want it to come back at me later. And that's me. Like I host a podcast. I'm not important.
You're not president of the United States.
Yeah, I'm not important at all.
You're not getting into a dick measuring contest with nuclear weapons.
And now it's like, I'm sorry. I can't go to bat, and I can't take up the flag for a guy that acts like that. And he's still my president, and I'm still rooting for him. Just like I was with Barack Obama when I criticized parts of Barack Obama that I loathed and couldn't stand. But I feel the same way with Trump. I can't. I don't know what the guy's thinking. I don't know what the guy is thinking.
It's him trying to portray some type of convoluted notion that he's a tough guy. Mm-hmm. And he thinks, you know what, his base is going to eat this up. They're going to eat that up, and they're going to love it, and they're going to praise him for it. And at this point right now, that's all he has, because a good portion of the country doesn't like him, and they won't like him.
Yeah. No, I mean, and the thing is too, Adam, is that you got this guy doing this stuff, and we got this tax plan going through. You have a lot of people who oppose him criticizing the tax plan, not based on anything other than they don't want Donald Trump, they don't like Donald Trump, and they want it to fail. I don't have a problem with this tax plan necessarily. It's not going to affect me anything, and for all you people out there who think it's going to affect you in some great or horrible way, you're probably wrong. You're probably wrong. It's just another dumb tax plan from our dumb government. Really, people think that this stuff
taxation is theft.
Taxation is theft. Exactly. It could be fixed by deregulating and all this stuff and having a flat tax, but that's totally irrelevant at this point. But it just makes it impossible. If this tax plan is awesome, let's pretend for a second that all the haters are wrong. This tax plan goes through. It's even better than its supporters say. You can't be successful in other more important things when you're just saying dumb stuff all the time.
Well, yeah,
Quit saying dumb stuff all the time.
And nobody's saying, Josh, that North Korea should be off the... No, you should be talking about North Korea, but not in this sense. Not saber-rattling with a complete lunatic who's running that country. Right. There's North Korea on the table. There's... last time I checked, Puerto Rico was still in utter disarray from the hurricane and knocked them out. You have a pretty big election coming up at the end of this year that could very well determine, the further success of your last 2 years in office and whether or not you get another 4 years after that. You've got the Russia investigation still banging on your door right now. There's a lot of other things that you need to be, well aware about, other than trying to act like a strong man on the world stage.
Right. I was reading some of the comments underneath Trump's tweet, and some of them were really dumb. And you got people saying, "Oh, this just makes me empathize with North Korea." It's like, no, you're stupid. Yeah. Okay, North Korea sucks. All right, Kim Jong-un and North Korea suck. So just because Donald Trump says dumb things doesn't mean you should be on North Korea's side. No. And if that's you, I'm not talking to you, Adam. If that's where you go because Donald Trump's tweets are dumb, then shame on you. You're a fool. You're being a fool because North Korea sucks. And the problem with this isn't that what Donald Trump said was wrong, per se. It's the way he's saying it, the way he's acting towards it, the way he is making light of whether or not the button on Kim Jong-un's desk works properly. We all know that we have bigger bombs than North Korea. That doesn't mean we want North Korea's bombs to go off. Mm-hmm. That's not what that means. So...
No, and I think
just be right-minded.
Everybody. No, Donald Trump is I can't stand Donald Trump. I think he's an awful president. I think he's probably going to go down when it's all said and done as one of the worst presidents this country's ever seen. I think it was a complete and utter mistake that people voted for him. I can't believe people voted for him under the premises that that happened during his campaign. But again, go and live in North Korea and come back and tell me what you think. I mean, Donald Trump's United States is still in no way comparable to Kim Jong-un's.
Right. I mean, Donald Trump is a lot of things. His tweets really suck. He's not a warmongering murderer who has basically committed.
In some ways, he's a warmonger. He's not a murderer.
Well, I mean, but he hasn't started any war. He really hasn't. He's really not a warmonger. He's he's provocative.
He's provocative. I think he's a buffoon.
That is for sure.
He's a swindler.
I can't stand saber rattling. You use the term saber rattling, and I agree with you. I realize that sometimes I come across as an all or nothing kind of guy. I actually am okay with that. I don't mind saber swinging, but don't saber rattle. You want to put down North Korea? Put them down. Really, put them down. Quite frankly, I'm not sure why the last 3 or 4 or 5 presidents haven't just said, "Know what? North Korea sucks. Let's put them down." But either do it or don't. And I by the way, I don't mean nuke them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying just push the red button already. Who cares? Your button's so big, push the damn thing. No, that's not what I'm saying. But you want to put down North Korea? Put them down. And tell China, go to hell. Because China will not go to war with the United States over North Korea. I know people think they will. A lot of really intelligent people think they will too. A lot of people in the military world think they will. But, and I know China's big. I know China's got a lot of stuff. I know nobody wants war with China. They got their population alone makes them a terribly scary thing. Do you know who else nobody wants to go to war with?
United States.
The United States of America. And if people think that China is going to go to war with us because we put the smackdown on North Korea, well, then I guess the people leading China are just as crazy as those leading North Korea, because that would be insane. China will go to war with us over certain things. They're not going to go to war with us to protect North Korea. No way. No way, no how.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, I don't think necessarily bombing North Korea is going to result in a war with China. I think you make a very good point in the sense that what is North Korea? The only thing North Korea is a buffer between a democratic South Korea and a capitalist South Korea and a communist China. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing North Korea is. That's it. Mm-hmm. Other than that, they are a thorn in China's side. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that North Korea does that benefits China in any way.
No, it's not. They're like their annoying little a-hole cousin.
Yeah.
Who is constantly doing things to piss them off, but they don't want to just totally get rid of
North Korea. You know what North Korea is? North Korea is Scrappy Doo.
Yeah.
That's what North Korea is. North Korea is Scrappy Doo to China's Scooby Doo.
That is a great analogy. It really is, because I mean it's and like Scrappy Doo, as annoying as they are, 90% of what they say is probably crap. I mean, really, the 90% of what North Korea says is probably just posturing and nothing. Mm-hmm. Because I think Kim Jong-un's crazy. I don't really think he's that crazy, though. But I mean, he's posturing, he's saber rattling. Because
they say he's not that, because they know that the longevity in the future of the Kim regime relies on not getting into a war that they know they cannot win.
Right. He's crazy like a fox.
And they know they cannot win a war against the United States.
Right.
They know it.
They just want to keep being provocative and keep saying the things that put them in that
Well,
level.
it helps them. You know what it does? It helps them. It helps them with that iron fist they have on their own people.
Right.
So
Yeah, no, he's crazy like a fox.
if they showed any type of weakness to the United States, then that's going to cause an uprising, possibly within his own country. Hey, he's weak against the United States. Why should we be putting up with any of the bullshit he's telling us in our own country?
Mm-hmm. So. Basically, in essence, what you could link all this back to is the idea that excuse me, that these alliances that nations have made over the years, i.e. the United Nations, NATO, Warsaw Pact, that these are terrible. This is what happens when you insist on claiming that there are independent nations, but then trying to basically, in essence, draw two sides between 100 plus nations. This is what George Washington warned us against in his farewell address as president. Mm-hmm. This is what caused World War I. It's what caused World War II. And yet, we as a global people, decided that we were going to suffer through World War I, suffer through World War II, and our solution to making sure World War I and World War II wouldn't happen is to double down on the mistakes that caused the two great wars. I mean, these wars happened because of unholy alliances between huge nations, and that's in essence what we've done. The only issue is now these alliances we've made in the UN and NATO and other places, we don't really honor them anymore. Mm-hmm. So luckily for everybody else, we don't honor them. So World War III doesn't break out like every other week. Because it should, if you actually like honored some of this stuff. But, you know, back in the old days, this problem between North Korea and South Korea, it would have been a problem between North Korea and South Korea.
Well, technically speaking, too, when North Korea fired on that island and killed some South Koreans, I mean,
yeah. But South Korea can't go to war because, like I said earlier, that China will not go to war with the United States to protect North Korea. Unfortunately, they will go to war with South Korea to protect North Korea. And that's what South Korea fears. South Korea has the 6th most powerful military on the planet. They're not actually scared of North Korea. They're scared of North Korea's unholy alliances with really, really, really big countries. Mm-hmm. That's what South Korea is scared of.
Yep.
And personally, I would love to... this same thing could be said about the problem with Israel and some of the other Middle Eastern countries. These problems could be fixed by saying, you know what? If these people want to go to war with each other, let them go to war with each other and let it be their problem. I don't want to hear that people are going to war and dying. I don't want that, but why does it have to be the United States' problem? Why does it have to be China's problem? Why does it have to be Russia's problem? Why does it have to be any of these people's problem? If they really wanted to benefit their own people, they could decide, listen, if little countries want to fight other little countries, then let little countries fight other little countries. That's it. See ya.
Let's continue here. Let's see, where do I want to go to next? Here's one that was just all over the internet today. Do you know who Logan Paul is, Josh?
No, I don't.
Well, he's a YouTube vlogger.
He's named after Wolverine.
No.
Are you sure he's not named after Wolverine?
I'm pretty. I don't think
How
he
old
is.
is he?
I don't know. Probably in his early 20s. I think he's 22.
Then he's named after Wolverine.
Oh, maybe. Anyways, though, YouTube star Logan Paul made a pretty big mistake.
Okay.
He's in Japan, and he was hiking in, what's the name of the forest? It is the forest at the base of Mount Fuji. Let me just
Okay.
get that here.
That's where they make film, right?
The Oigara Forest, which they also call the Japanese Suicide Forest.
Wow.
And I guess this forest itself is a place where a lot of people go to commit suicide.
Yikes.
And he was filming in here and came across a body that was hanging from a tree.
Yikes.
And instead of shutting off the camera, he continued to film and proceed to, crack some jokes about this body that was hanging from a tree.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, somebody's loved one
Right.
that, found it necessary to end their own life. Well, he's taken some heavy criticism for that,
Okay.
rightfully so.
Sure.
But yeah, he's had to issue out multiple apologies for this, and people are basically calling for YouTube to completely throw him off of the platform. This is a guy that has over 15 million subscribers to his channel.
Jeez.
And I mean, he's getting a whole bunch of criticism thrown his way, and again, rightfully so too. I mean, it's just to say that it's incredibly bad taste to continue filming in this sense is a.
But hey, why did you go to the suicide forest with a camera?
Well, I was going to
That's
say
kind of what he wanted to
I was
catch,
going to say it's a complete and utter understatement when it comes to that. But yeah, you're right. I mean, what was he looking to do in this case here?
Exactly that.
Yeah, you know what this forest is known for.
And he probably just doubled his subscribers.
Actually, I think he's lost.
Well, he'll
lost
lose some, and then but he made a name for himself. No such thing as bad press.
Well, he already made a name for himself prior to this. And the thing about it, though,
I'd never heard of him.
Well, neither have I. The guy is.
Well, now we have.
The guy's incredibly lame. The guy, his YouTube channel is just a plug, I guess, for his clothing brand.
Of course it is.
Which is incredibly lame in and of itself. But yeah, this guy's videos are just it's stupid. They're videos that appeal to what seems to be 16-year-old teenage girls.
Hipsters or something.
Yeah. So I don't know. But yeah.
Hashtag dumb.
I totally agree with what you just said as far as him knowing what he was getting himself into, knowing what he was going to go and film in that place. And
this was a go for broke thing, This is why he did it. He did it, and we'll see. It'll either wreck him or it'll propel him to the next level of YouTubedness.
John Gruden looks like he's going to become the new head coach the next head coach of the Oakland Raiders, something he already was. He served as the Oakland Raiders head coach from 1998 to 2001 before he left for Tampa Bay, and then eventually going up into the broadcast booth with ESPN's Monday Night Football back in 2008. I personally think this is a bad move. I don't want to have anything to do with a coach that's been out of the game for almost a decade.
Sure.
But he came out and said something else that was just so totally stupid today. Everybody knows that the Raiders want John Gruden back.
Right.
John Gruden wants the job. So he comes out and says today, well, I hope I'm a candidate for the opening. If I was Jack Del Rio, the guy that they fired to go out and hire John Gruden, I'd probably want to punch John Gruden in the face.
Right.
But I understand that John Gruden has to kind of tiptoe around the issue, considering A, he's still employed by ESPN, and B, there is a Rooney Rule in the NFL that he has to, the Raiders still have to abide by. But again, you don't have to say anything regarding this.
He's got the job.
You don't have to say anything regarding this.
They want him. He wants it. It's a done deal.
The only thing that you have to say is, you know what? My focus right now is fulfilling my duties to ESPN and Monday Night Football.
Sure.
What do we have here? You know who Thanos is?
Of course I do.
Okay. Apparently, let me go ahead and bring this up here. I don't know why my
Marvel's version of Darkseid.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean he's pretty much like the biggest, baddest dude in Marvel.
Well, apparently Marvel revealed the Mad Titan's less than imitating birth name. Let me see here. Okay. You know what his birth name is?
I do not.
Dion.
Dion.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, like Mind Reader to the Stars, Dion?
I guess. He looks pretty cool, though.
That's neat. I mean, it's
Is it
off
Dark
of
Side or Dark Seed?
Dark Side, I believe is how you're supposed to pronounce it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that the guy that's on my
Spelled
fantasy team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's badass.
I like how we occasionally, every so often, go on the fantasy
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
and nobody knows what we're talking about.
And
Probably.
it's just like, whoa, that's like a someday.
It looks like him.
We've been saying this for years. Oh yeah, they're a total ripoff. Someday we will dedicate an entire podcast to the Fantasy League and the immense nerddom.
We already
that it
did.
is.
We already did parts of the 24-hour podcast on Growdy.
Well, yeah, that's true, but that was a long time ago. Nobody listened to that.
What else here? Carrie Underwood says she might look a bit different after getting 40 to 50 stitches in her face.
Oh, what happened to her?
I don't know. Did she? Oh, she fell in November. And
She dating Chris Brown?
no.
Oh, good.
Apparently, she just fell. But did you know that Paris Hilton was also engaged as well?
I did not know that.
Yeah, engaged to some actor. I don't have his name in front of me. Because quite frankly, I really don't care. Yeah, she's engaged.
She's gross.
Paris Hilton.
Yeah. She
Yeah,
grosses
yeah.
me out.
I was never a fan. She just looks like.
I mean,
her.
I'd marry her. She's like a zillionaire, so I'd marry her.
Yeah. Stay in any Hilton you want across
Yeah,
the
exactly.
across the world. She's I don't know. She just looks like they she looks like a giant herpy to me.
She does. She's disgusting.
Like I feel if like Paris Hilton breathed on you, you would have herpes.
Yeah, I feel like she's physically revolting to me. She's repulsive.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a fan.
And she's one of those people that, and I know there's a lot of people out there that disagree with me, and they're entitled to it. And this isn't even designed to be like a personal attack on Paris Hilton. But when people tell me that Paris Hilton is hot, I feel like they can't be telling the truth.
No.
I feel like you're lying. You don't really think that. I don't get it. But obviously, I have a lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people think she's hot. She's gross to me.
It does seem like she's matured though in the past.
She does, yeah.
few
Oh,
years.
for
Like,
sure.
we-
No, I'm not a hater. I know it sounds like I am, but I'm not even like a huge Paris Hilton hater.
Like we don't hear about her going out and getting
No.
piss ass drunk and
And I'm sure she's still going out and getting piss ass drunk, but she's just smart enough to like
kind of keep it under wraps.
yeah, which you should be. You're a zillionaire. Just-
You're a zillionaire. I
yeah,
don't know. What is she like 50 now or something?
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Let's
older than dirt. I think she's like our age, so she's super old.
see here. Do we have anything? Oh, here's one for you. Pouring your beer improperly can hurt your stomach.
Oh, really?
Yep. How do you pour your beer? Turns out this popular pouring method that results in little to no foam is completely wrong. It
Yeah,
can actually cause
that's
stomach
what
issues.
Actually, it's like the beer drinkers do the thing where they pour it in the on the side, but then like the true beer drinkers know that that's not how you're supposed to do it. You're actually supposed to have the foam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people are wondering why they haven't learned this at a university.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, if beer is gonna like really hurt you, I don't think it was because you were pouring it wrong. I think it was because you probably drank like way too much.
Way too much beer.
Yeah, I mean, like I think you probably were drinking too much. I don't think there's like that one person like with like major liver issues. You're like, if I would have just poured it different. I'm like, I don't think that's the person. I'm not trying to make light of that either. But it's like I don't think that's like really your issue with beer. If you're having like true like physical problems from drinking beer, I don't think it's because you poured it wrong. I
because
think
you
it's
drank too
poured it too often.
But anyways, that's it for tonight.
That is it. Well, thanks everybody for coming back. I know we took our break over the holidays. I hope you had great holidays. We did as well. Happy New Year to all for our first show of 2018, first of many shows of 2018, and looking forward to next week's Deep Issues show and to an entire year of X-casting with my homeboy Adam Hernandez. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See ya.